Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're getting into something pretty specific, two high-end pilot watches from Garmin. We're looking at the D2 Air X15 versus the new flagship, the D2 Mach 2.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one for you, the learner. We've got some great source material, including a very thorough buyer's guide from the 5K runner, which
Yes.
really breaks down the specs.
Exactly.
Our mission basically is to sift through all this and figure out, is the Mach 2 actually worth potentially double the money compared to the Air X15? That's the big question.
Right. So we need to hit the key points. The price difference, obviously, the battery life, which looks pretty wild on the Mach 2, new hardware bits like mics and speakers, and critically, those aviation features that really set them apart. Let's maybe start with the price. That seems like the most obvious place.
Definitely. And Garmin's pretty clear with their tiering here.
Yeah.
The D2 Air X15, it kicks things off at $649.99 suggested retail. It's positioned as, sleek, everyday wearable, but still feature-packed for pilots.
Okay, so 650, but then you step up to the Mach 2 line, and it's a whole different ballpark, isn't it?
Completely. It's a different design philosophy, different materials. The standard 47mm D2 Mach 2, that one starts at $13,349.99.
Wow. Okay, big jump.
Huge jump. And then if you go for the absolute top end one, the 51mm model with the fancy titanium bracelet, you're looking at $4,499.99.
$1,500. So you're moving from, like you said, a capable sports watch for pilots to something much more hardened, expedition grade.
Exactly. Expedition grade is a good way to put it. And the sources, especially the 5K Runner's Guide, make it clear that cost is tied directly to the build quality of the materials.
So what are you actually getting for that extra money in terms of, the physical watch?
Well, you're paying for resilience, basically. The Mach 2, it steps up to a sapphire crystal lens, super scratch resistant.
Right, much better than glass.
Much better. And you get a titanium bezel. Some models even have a DLC coating that's diamond-like carbon for extra toughness. And maybe the biggest difference in durability is the water rating.
Ah, yeah, I saw that. The Mach 2 is 10 ATM.
10 ATM, which means, it's good for recreational scuba diving down to about 40 meters.
Hold on, a pilot watch you can scuba dive with. That's an unusual combination. High altitude and deep water.
It really is. And it comes down to the engineering. They use these leak-proof inductive buttons on the Mach 2.
Inductive buttons, okay.
Yeah, so they don't need physical holes through the case, which helps maintain that serious water resistance. Compare that to the Air X15 that uses Corning Gorilla Glass 3, which is fine.
Still tough, yeah.
Still tough, stainless steel bezel, but it's got a standard 5 ATM rating, good for swimming, but not diving. So if you need that extreme environment capability, the Mach 2's build starts to make a bit more sense, price-wise.
Okay, build quality aside for a moment, let's look at features. There's some cool new things on both models, right? Like the flashlight.
Absolutely. That's probably one of the headline new hardware features. And yeah, it's on both the Air X15 and the Mach 2. It's a built-in LED.
Dual color, I think.
Yep, white light, which is just generally useful, finding stuff in the dark. But crucially, it also has a red light mode.
Which is key for pilots, right? Preserving night vision in the cockpit.
Exactly that. Non-negotiable safety feature for night flying. So that's a nice addition across the board.
Okay, so beyond the light, what about the upgrades that are only on the Mach 2? Things tied to that higher-end Phoenix-like platform.
Right. This is where the Mach 2 really starts to pull ahead in terms of daily convenience and broader functionality. It gets a microphone and a speaker built in.
Ah, so you can actually take calls on the watch?
Yep. Bluetooth phone calling. And you can use your phone's voice assistant through the watch. Think about, maybe you're cycling or hiking. You don't have to pull your phone out. It adds that hands-free element.
That's pretty handy. And for cockpit use, specifically for night vision, the Mach 2 has another trick up its sleeve.
It does, yeah. It's called redshift mode. While both have the red flashlight, the Mach 2 can actually shift the entire display to shades of red.
Oh, interesting. So the whole screen goes red.
The whole screen just minimizes any white or blue light to really protect your adapted night vision. It's a feature pulled over from the Phoenix line. Pretty smart for aviation.
And memory. I think the Mach 2 gets more space.
Yeah, the Mach 2 models pack 32 gigabytes of memory.
Yeah.
Compare that to the Matrix shows 8 gigs for the Air X15. So way more room for maps, music, activities, that kind of thing.
Okay, maps. That feels like a good transition. Let's dive into the core reason someone might spend the extra money and the aviation-specific tools. This is where the Mach 2 really needs to justify itself, right? What exclusives does it offer?
This is really the heart of it. The main advantage for the Mach 2 is its enhanced situational awareness,
Hmm.
largely driven by what it can do right on the watch itself because of its better mapping.
Better mapping how? More detail.
Yeah, significantly more detail. Garmin says it's the most detailed color mapping on any of their pilot watches so far. You
Hmm.
get topography, uh, terrain shading, preloaded road, and trail maps. It's much richer.
Okay, so it's got the fancy map base. What does that enable in terms of actual flight tools that the Air X15 doesn't have?
Well, two big things jump out, both pretty critical for safety and navigation. First, those detailed maps allow for color-coded airspace boundaries.
Ah, so you can see Class B, Class C airspace visually.
Exactly. Makes it much easier to understand complex airspace at a glance. And second, this is something the buyer's guide really emphasizes, is the personal minimums alerts feature.
Personal minimums. Okay, tell me about that. Sounds like a risk management tool.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
You, the pilot, can actually program your own personal safety limits into the watch. Things like maximum crosswind you're comfortable with, or minimum visibility, minimum ceiling height.
Okay. And then what happens?
If the current conditions, or forecast conditions, exceed those minimums you set, say the crosswind picks up beyond your limit, the watch face actually changes color,
Hmm.
often to orange. It gives you this immediate, visual, nonverbal heads up.
Interesting. Like an extra layer of caution built in.
Precisely. The source calls it an extra layer of situational awareness, and for pilots who fly by strict personal standards, that could be hugely valuable. That's a Mach 2 exclusive.
Got it. But let's be fair to the Air X15. It's still a proper pilot watch, right? What are the core aviation features that both models share?
Oh, absolutely. The RX-15 is no slouch. They both cover the essentials. And both watches have that neat feature where the watch face color can change dynamically based on the conditions at your selected airport, usually indicating VFR or IFR.
VFR being good weather, visual flight rules, IFR meaning instrument flight rules, tougher conditions.
Exactly. So you get that quick land status check on both. Very useful.
And they both connect to the plane's systems to some extent.
Both can connect via the Garmin Pilot app on your phone or tablet to display real-time flight data from your avionics. And they both support plane sync.
Plane sync, that's the remote status thing.
Yeah, as you check things like fuel level, battery status, database updates remotely when you're away from the aircraft. Though, important note, that requires a subscription and only works when the plane's on the ground.
Right, okay. Good clarification. Now, speaking of things that go on for a while, let's talk battery life. This seems to be a massive differentiator, especially based on the 5K runners review. The Mach 2 numbers are just huge.
Yeah, the comparison is pretty stark. It's night and day, really. The RX-15 is decent. You know, it gets up to 10 days in standard smartwatch mode.
Yeah.
That's respectable.
10 days is pretty good for a smartwatch.
It is, but then you look at the Mach 2, particularly that larger 51mm version. It's just built for serious endurance.
Okay, hit me with those big Mach 2 number.
All right, so standard smartwatch mode, up to 26 days.
26. Almost a month.
Almost a month. Or if you have the screen always on, it's still 13 days. But the one pilots really care about is the fly activity mode that's with GPS running and also the pulse ox sensor.
Pulse ox, right, the blood oxygen monitoring for altitude.
Yep, so in that demanding fly mode,
Yeah.
the Mach 2 delivers up to 58 hours.
58
hours.
58 hours. Wow. That's nearly 2.5 days of continuous flight tracking with oxygen monitoring. That's incredible.
It really is exceptional.
But here's the question, though. For your average private pilot, maybe doing weekend trips, a couple of hours here and there, is that kind of extreme battery life actually the deciding factor? Or is it really aimed at, like, long-haul pros or expedition types?
That's exactly the right question to ask. For that weekend flyer, honestly, the Air X-15's 20 hours in fly activity mode is probably plenty.
Right, covers most trips.
Covers most VFR trips, yeah. But the Mach 2's endurance, as the sources point out, it's positioned against, extreme adventure watches.
Yeah.
The 5K runner comparison noted that even other high-end watches, like, say, an Apple Watch Ultra, they struggle to get much past maybe 10 hours in continuous GPS recording modes.
Ah, okay, so it's a different league entirely.
Completely different league. If your flying involves multiple long legs, or maybe you're doing backcountry flying where charging isn't an option for days, then the Mach 2's battery isn't just nice to have, it's potentially a mission-critical reason to choose it. It justifies the cost in those scenarios.
Makes sense. Okay, before we wrap up with the final verdict, we should probably touch on the other side of these watches, the fitness and wellness stuff. Pilots are often active people, right?
For sure. And both watches cover the health basics relevant to travelers and pilots. You get body battery energy monitoring, stress tracking, and that jet lag advisor feature to help manage time zone shifts. Pulse ox is on both too for altitude.
But again, the Mach 2, leveraging that Fenix hardware, probably goes deeper into multi-sport territory.
Oh yeah, much deeper. It fully unlocks that Fenix potential. So you get advanced features like the Garmin ECG app capability, plus a massive list of activity profiles, detailed strength training with on-screen animations.
Oh, wow, animations on the watch.
Yep, triathlon modes, advanced mountain biking metrics,
Yeah.
and, circling back to the durability point, that dedicated 40-meter recreational dive profile. That's pretty rare to find alongside aviation features.
Okay, so we've laid out the differences. Materials, battery, the exclusive aviation tools like mapping and alerts on the Mach 2. Let's try and synthesize this for you, the learner. What's the final calculus?
Right. So the way I see it, boiling down the sources, the D2 Mach 2 really earns its much higher price tag over the Air X15 in, I'd say, three main areas. First, the build quality. Superior material sapphire, titanium, and that extreme 10 ATM durability with the scuba capability thanks to those inductive buttons.
Okay, durability is number one.
Second, those exclusive advanced aviation tools focused on situational awareness. Specifically, the really detailed color mapping and that unique personal minimums alert system.
Right, the safety features.
And third, powering all that enhanced capability is that absolutely market-leading multi-week battery life, especially in flight modes. It's just in a different class.
So, putting it simply, the D2 Air X15 gives you the essential pilot tools, great features, in a sleek, more affordable package. Good for many
Oh,
pilots.
excellent value.
Whereas the D2 Mach 2, that's for the user who absolutely demands the top-tier integrated safety features, needs bomb-proof durability, and requires that extreme multi-day battery endurance. Maybe someone who operates in more demanding environments or just wants the absolute best, cost aside.
Exactly. It really comes down to whether you need those Mach 2 exclusives, the super detailed maps, the custom alerts, and that monster battery life. If you don't, the Air X15 is probably fantastic. If you do, the Mach 2 is kind of in a class of its own.
Okay, perfect summary. Now here's a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on. Given that this Mach 2 bundles high-altitude flight safety, pulse ox, advanced navigation with a 40-meter dive computer rating, and even a no-fly timer after diving, this weird mix of sky and sea, does it make you wonder if the future of the truly premium pilot watch is actually less about just the cockpit?
It's interesting.
Is it maybe becoming more about being this single ultimate instrument for someone who pushes limits in all extreme environments, from 40,000 feet down to 40 meters below the surface?
That's a really sharp point. It sort of reframes it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From just an aviator watch to a full-blown expedition instrument, capable of handling safety and data logging across, well, pretty much the entire vertical slice of the planet people operate in.
Something to think about anyway as you weigh up which level of capability truly matches your own missions. All right, that's our time for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.